2027, Peter Obi can't be VP. Atiku has inordinate ambition. Stakeholders squash merger talks. As the Nigerian political atmosphere starts drifting towards the 2027 presidential election, former People's Democratic Party (PDP) presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has been cautioned against any proposed alliance with his counterpart from the Labour Party (LP), Peter Obi, and the opposition. Stakeholders in the political sphere said Atiku can't form any coalition that would oust President Bola Tinubu from power in 2027, despite the leadership crisis within the PDP, LP, and the New Nigerian People's Party (NNPP). Since the 2023 presidential election, the PDP has been battling with the leadership crisis as factions jostle over the position of the national chairman of the party, and the same scenario plays out in the Labour Party. Daily Post reports that in the internal crisis within the NNPP led to the suspension of the Kano State Secretary of the State Government (SSG) Abdullahi Bafi Bichi and the Commissioner of Transportation Mohammed Digul. The party chairman Hashim Suleiman Dangurawa said the suspension followed alleged disrespect to the party, abuse of power, office, and disloyalty to the party. In July, aggrieved members of the party also disowned Kwankwaso because they claimed he was a threat to the party. In January, political scientist Pat Utomi had announced that he consulted with PDP's Atiku Abubakar, LP's Peter Obi, and NNPP's Rabiu Kwankwaso on the possibility of forming a new political party. Recently, Utomi affirmed that Atiku, Kwankwaso, and Obi have agreed to form a political party that would oust President Bola Tinubu from power in 2027. Dismissing the remark, the All Progressive Congress (APC) National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka described Utomi's disclosure as an unmitigated delusion of grandeur. Moka said, "As a serial promoter of mega parties that never materialize, Professor Pat Utomi's statement cannot be taken that seriously." Amid this internal wrangling among parties, and Utomi's declaration, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Kwankwaso are holding alliance talks with some other political stakeholders on the possible merger. Stressing that the opposition leaders are in talks, Atiku's special advisor on media and publicity, Paul Ibe, told Daily Post, "When you are going to birth an alliance like this, it won't be on the pages of the newspaper, it will be away from the media glare. I can assure you that the process is ongoing. All of the stakeholders and various leaders have recognized the imperative of that alliance to forge a united front to recover Nigeria from these people just toiling with the lives and the destiny of Nigerians. They are committed to do that, and the process is ongoing." When quizzed on Atiku, Kwankwaso, and Obi's involvement in the alliance, he said, "The opposition leaders are talking. They have begun the process. The opposition leaders have commenced the process that would birth the alliance." However, the Director General of Heritage Center, a think tank dedicated to research into economics, politics, and opinions, Kachi Ononuju, dismissed the possibility of a merger. Speaking with Daily Post, the PDP chieftain said only Kwankwaso has indicated interest in working with Obi. Ononuju said, "Kwankwaso has talked about his willingness to work with Peter Obi that follows from the election, but he was threatened by some people not to work with Obi. There is no talk of a merger between any of the parties. The only merger possible from what we have seen is Kwankwaso talking of his willingness to work with Obi. There are no other talks of a merger. The PDP can't talk about a merger because of its crisis. It has to stand on its own before it can talk about a merger. I can also say the same thing for the Labour Party. The only one I know without an issue is the Obedient Movement, which is not a political party but a movement. There are no merger talks, but hints to cohabitate and work with each other, which I know with Kwankwaso saying publicly that he would work with Obi. Ononuju said nobody, including Kwankwaso or Obi, would take Atiku seriously due to his inordinate ambition. He said, because of Atiku's inordinate ambition, if he doesn't get off his high horse, nobody will take him seriously. Not Kwankwaso, neither will Obi. Secondly, Atiku is in a party that is currently in crisis, so there is nothing like a merger with such issues. Obi visited Atiku some time ago, and Atiku spoke about working together, to which Peter Obi said yes. But Atiku will not have anybody from the south step down for him. So the fact that in 2013 he said that his sanctity of rotation is as sanctimonious as the quota system. Quota system is the reason the South-South bent backwards to allow the North inclusion. So if that's the way to take the presidency and you don't want to allow South inclusion, nobody will work with you. That's why nobody may work with Atiku, because he wants to be on top. If you formed an alliance with the NPDP and buffered Buhari's presidency, after 8 years of Buhari's presidency, why would you feel terrible having a Southerner rule? If you don't have that mind of the North and South ruling, it's not going to work. It was Atiku that paid money to the preachers in the mosques to start preaching that Muslims in the North should not vote for anybody from the East. That's why Wike got frightened and started his heritage denial acrobatics that I'm not Igbo, thinking that they would get him in the North. What happened? He was rejected, and that's why Wike has been spilling bad blood in trying to do the NWC the same way Atiku did it. Once you use money to compromise our party's NWC, you can bend their heads to do anything. He also declared that Obi would never work with Atiku as vice presidential candidate. Onoju said Peter Obi would never work with Atiku for him to become president and him to become vice president. Obi doesn't have that capacity. How many people will you talk to? Obasanjo, Chief Clark, or the ones that have died in the struggle? If Kwankwaso has seen it and decided to work with Peter, that's fine. But the North must understand the craving of the South for inclusion is heightened by the experience of Buhari's weaponization of nepotism. That is the question for him. Everybody has told him to step down for the sake of democracy, opposition. And as we speak, the opposition is moribund and comatose because the PDP is gone. Atiku should bow out and support somebody from the south. And if for any reason Obi agrees that he will be the transition, when Peter left, the East left with him because their expectations were not heard. How can you form a coalition using NPDP? Others came in with CPC and you ended up having APC. Nobody goes into alliance with people they do not trust.